One luxury car costs $120,000 new, then at 100,000 kilometers needs $25,000 in repairs, making it worth less than the repair bill. That's not an accident. Manufacturers intentionally design luxury cars to be financially catastrophic the moment warranty expires. Air suspension systems engineered to fail at 80,000 kilometers, costing $8,000 to replace. Timing chains designed to grenade at 120,000, requiring complete engine removal. This is planned obsolescence perfected, brilliant when new, financial suicide when used. Today we're exposing 12 luxury cars engineered as disposable products. These aren't investments. They're depreciating disasters waiting to destroy your finances. Number 12, BMW X5 E70, 2007 to 2013. What if your luxury SUV needed more in repairs than it's worth on the used market? That's the E70 X5, BMW's ultimate driving machine, becoming the ultimate financial disaster. The BMW X5 E70 originally sold for $55,000 to $75,000 new. Today, a 2011 X5X Drive 35i with 120,000 kilometers sells for just $12,000 to $18,000. That's 75 to 80% depreciation. The transfer case in X-Drive models fails between 120,000 to 160,000 kilometers. Symptoms include grinding noises, vibrations, and complete AWD failure. Transfer case replacement costs $4,000 to $6,000, nearly half the car's value. Many mechanics report seeing these failures weekly in their shops. The N55 turbocharged inline six suffers from oil filter housing gasket leaks that drip oil onto the serpentine belt, causing sudden belt failure and overheating. Repair costs $1,200 to $2,000. The leak also creates oil consumption issues requiring constant monitoring. The high-pressure fuel pump fails catastrophically around 100,000 to 140,000 kilometers, leaving you stranded. Replacement costs $1,500 to $2,500. This failure often happens without warning during normal driving. The valve cover gaskets leak oil onto the exhaust manifold, creating smoke and fire risk. Repair costs $800 to $1,500. The smell of burning oil becomes a constant companion. Total repairs, $7,500 to $12,000 on a vehicle worth $15,000. The economics are impossible. Most owners sell these SUVs when major repairs surface, but does BMW's transfer case nightmare compare to what Mercedes built with catastrophic suspension failures? Number 11, Mercedes E-Class W212, 2010 to 2016. Mercedes' best-selling sedan hides a ticking time bomb, the balance shaft module that destroys engines, costing more to repair than the car is worth. The Mercedes E-Class W212 originally sold for $52,000 to $68,000 new. Today, a 2013 E350 with 130,000 kilometers sells for just $15,000 to $22,000. That's 70 to 75% depreciation. The catastrophic defect is the balance shaft module in M276 V6 engines. Around 120,000 to 150,000 kilometers, the gears wear and fail catastrophically. Metal fragments contaminate the entire engine, destroying bearings and requiring complete engine replacement, costing $12,000 to $18,000. Mercedes dealers refuse to sell just the module. They insist on complete engine replacement. There's no warning. One day the engine runs normally. The next you hear horrible grinding, then catastrophic failure. By the time you notice symptoms, internal damage is already catastrophic. The airmatic air suspension fails between 100,000 to 140,000 kilometers. All four air struts leak and collapse. Replacement costs $4,000 to $6,000. Many owners convert to coil springs for $2,500 to $3,500. The timing chain stretches on early models, causing rattling and eventually jumping timing. Replacement requires significant engine disassembly, costing $3,000 to $5,000. The labor alone takes 12 to 15 hours. Total repair costs easily exceed $15,000 to $20,000, more than the car's entire value. This makes the W212 economically worthless. But does Mercedes's balance shaft disaster compare to what Jaguar built? Number 10, Jaguar XJ X351, 2010 to 2019. British luxury meets catastrophic unreliability. The Jaguar XJ combines stunning design with electrical nightmares and mechanical failures, destroying resale values. The Jaguar XJ X351 originally sold for $75,000 to $95,000 new. Today, a 2012 XJ, supercharged with 110,000 kilometers, sells for just $18,000 to $28,000. That's 70 to 75% depreciation. The primary killer is timing chain failure on supercharged V8 models. The tensioners fail between 100,000 to 140,000 kilometers, causing the chain to jump timing. This results in catastrophic valve-to-piston contact, destroying the engine internally. Repair costs $10,000 to $15,000. Jaguar forums are filled with owners experiencing this exact failure. The air suspension fails around 90,000 to 120,000 kilometers. Air struts leak, compressors fail, and control modules malfunction. Full suspension replacement costs $6,000 to $9,000. The car sits unevenly in driveways across the country. The electronics are spectacularly unreliable. Infotainment freezes, navigation fails, cameras stop working, and modules randomly malfunction. Individual replacements cost $1,500 to $3,000 each. Software updates rarely fix the underlying hardware failures. The supercharger requires rebuilding around 120,000 to 150,000 kilometers due to bearing wear. Rebuild costs $4,000 to $6,000. The distinctive whine becomes a death rattle. Total costs easily exceed $20,000 to $25,000 before 150,000 kilometers. On a car worth $25,000, these repairs make zero economic sense. But does Jaguar's British disaster compare to what Audi built? Number 9, Audi Q7, 2007 to 2015. Audi's flagship SUV combines every expensive German failure: timing chains, carbon buildup, and transmission disasters, making these financially impossible to maintain. The Audi Q7 originally sold for $48,000 to $65,000 new. Today, a 2012 Q7 3.0T Quattro with 140,000 kilometers sells for just $14,000 to $22,000. That's 70 to 75% depreciation. The catastrophic defect is timing, chain tensioner failure on 3.0T V6 engines. The plastic tensioners disintegrate between 120,000 to 160,000 kilometers, causing the timing chain to jump and destroy valves and pistons. Complete engine repair costs $8,000 to $12,000. Audi knew about this defect but never issued a recall. The direct injection system creates massive carbon buildup on intake valves. By 100,000 kilometers, the buildup restricts airflow so severely the engine runs rough and loses power. Walnut blasting cleaning costs $800 to $1,200, but the problem returns every 60,000 kilometers. This is a design flaw in all direct injection engines without port injection. The ZF 8-speed automatic transmission develops harsh shifting and slipping around 150,000 to 180,000 kilometers. Transmission rebuild costs $5,000 to $8,000. Software updates postpone but don't prevent failure. The air suspension, when equipped, fails predictably around 100,000 kilometers. All four corners leak and require replacement, costing $5,000 to $7,000. The compressor runs constantly, trying to maintain pressure. The electronics are nightmarishly complex. MMI infotainment failures, parking sensor malfunctions, and module failures plague these SUVs. Individual repairs cost $1,000 to $2,500 each. Total repair costs easily reach $15,000 to $25,000 before 180,000 kilometers. On a vehicle worth $18,000, these economics make ownership impossible. The Q7 is disposable luxury, but does Audi's Q7 complexity compare to what BMW built in their 5 Series? Number 8. BMW 5 Series F10, 2011 to 2016. BMW's business class sedan self-destructs through timing, chain failures, and turbocharger disasters. Repair costs exceeding car values make these worthless after 120,000 kilometers. The BMW 5 Series F10 originally sold for $50,000 to $70,000 new. Today, a 2013 535 iX Drive with 130,000 kilometers sells for just $16,000 to $24,000. That's 70 to 75% depreciation. The primary killer is timing chain failure on N20 and N55 engine. The guides crack and tensioners fail between 120,000 to 150,000 kilometers. When the chain jumps, pistons collide with valves, causing catastrophic damage. Repair costs $6,000 to $10,000. BMW extended warranties on some models, but many owners paid out of pocket. The twin-turbo N55 suffers turbo failures around 120,000 to 160,000 kilometers. Both turbos fail together due to oil contamination. Replacement costs $4,000 to $7,000. The turbos use wastegate rattle-prone actuators. The high-pressure fuel pump fails catastrophically around 100,000 kilometers. Replacement costs $1,500 to $2,500. This leaves drivers stranded immediately. The valve cover develops cracks, leading to massive oil leaks onto exhaust. Replacement costs $1,200 to $2,000. The plastic becomes brittle over time. The transfer case on X-Drive models fails between 140,000 to 180,000 kilometers. Replacement costs $3,500 to $5,000. Grinding noises precede complete failure. The electronics are overly complex. iDrive failures, sensor malfunctions, and module failures plague these sedans. Repairs cost $1,000 to $2,000 each. Total costs exceed $18,000 to $28,000 before 180,000 kilometers. On a car worth $20,000, ownership is impossible. But does BMW's sedan disaster compare to what Maserati built? Number 7. Maserati Ghibli, 2014 to 2020. Italian luxury built on Chrysler architecture, the Ghibli combines exotic car repair costs with domestic car reliability, creating the perfect financial disaster. The Maserati Ghibli originally sold for $72,000 to $85,000 new. Today, a 2016 Ghibli SQ4 with 90,000 kilometers sells for just $28,000 to $38,000. That's 60 to 65% depreciation. The Ghibli is based on Chrysler architecture with a Ferrari-derived engine. You get Chrysler reliability with Ferrari repair costs, the worst combination. The parts bin sharing is extensive, but quality control is non-existent. The ZF 8-speed transmission develops harsh shifting, slipping, and complete failure between 80,000 to 120,000 kilometers. Transmission replacement costs $8,000 to $12,000 at Maserati dealers. Independent shops often refuse to work on these due to complexity. The 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6 suffers oil consumption issues and turbocharger failures. Oil consumption reaches 1 liter per 2,000 kilometers. Turbo replacement costs $5,000 to $8,000. The engine burns oil from new. The electronics are spectacularly unreliable. Infotainment freezes, navigation fails, and sensors malfunction constantly. Module replacements cost $1,500 to $3,000 each. The touchscreen becomes unresponsive regularly. spectacularly. The air suspension fails around 100,000 kilometers, requiring replacement costing $6,000 to $9,000. The system leaks from day one. Annual maintenance averages $2,500 to $4,000. Oil changes alone cost $600 to $800. Dealerships are the only option for service. Total cost before 120,000 kilometers exceed $25,000 to $35,000. On a car worth $35,000, these repairs destroy economic justification. We're halfway through. The top 6 represent even more catastrophic disasters. Number 6. Audi A6 C7, 2012 to 2018. Audi's executive sedan combines timing chain disasters with carbon buildup nightmares. Repair costs making these beautiful sedans economically worthless after warranty expires. The Audi A6 C7 originally sold for $48,000 to $62,000 new. Today, a 2014 A6 3.0 T Quattro with 130,000 kilometers sells for just $18,000 to $26,000. That's 65 to 70% depreciation. The catastrophic defect is timing chain tensioner failure on 3.0 T supercharged V6 engines. The plastic tensioners disintegrate between 120,000 to 150,000 kilometers. When they fail, the chain jumps, causing pistons to collide with valves. Complete repair costs $7,000 to $12,000. Audi service bulletins acknowledge the problem but offer no recalls. The supercharger requires rebuilding around 140,000 to 160,000 kilometers due to bearing wear and clutch failure. Rebuild costs $3,500 to $5,500. The supercharger wind changes pitch before failure. The direct injection system creates massive carbon buildup on intake valves. By 100,000 kilometers, buildup is so severe the engine runs rough and loses power. Walnut blasting costs $800 to $1,200 and repeats every 60,000 kilometers. This maintenance isn't mentioned in owner's manual. The dual-clutch S-Tronic develops mechatronic failures around 150,000 kilometers, causing harsh shifting and slipping. Mechatronic replacement costs $3,000 to $5,000. The clutches wear prematurely from stop-and-go driving. The electronics are impossibly complex. MMI failures, virtual cockpit malfunctions, and sensor failures plague these sedans. Module repairs cost $1,500 to $2,500 each. Software updates rarely solve hardware problems. Total costs exceed $20,000 to $30,000 before 180,000 kilometers. On a car worth $22,000, repairs make 0 sense. But does Audi's A6 disaster compare to what Range Rover built? Number 5. Range Rover Sport Endel 320, 2010 to 2013. British luxury engineering at its worst. The Range Rover Sport combines every expensive failure imaginable, making these SUVs financial black holes after 100,000 kilometers. The Range Rover Sport L320 originally sold for $62,000 to $82,000 new. Today, a 2012 supercharged with 110,000 kilometers sells for just $18,000 to $28,000. That's 70 to 75% depreciation. The primary killer is timing chain failure on 5.0-liter supercharged V8 engines. The guides and tensioners fail between 100,000 to 130,000 kilometers, causing catastrophic engine damage. Repair requires complete engine removal, costing $12,000 to $18,000. Land Rover forums document hundreds of these failures. The air suspension fails spectacularly around 80,000 to 100,000 kilometers. All 4 air struts leak, compressor burns out, and control module fails. Complete replacement costs $8,000 to $12,000. Many convert to coil springs for $4,000 to $6,000. The vehicle displays constant suspension fault warnings. The supercharger requires rebuilding around 120,000 kilometers due to bearing wear. Service costs $4,000 to $6,000. The bearings make grinding noises before complete failure. The transfer case fails between 120,000 to 160,000 kilometers, causing grinding noises and AWD malfunction. Replacement costs $5,000 to $8,000. The terrain response system becomes permanently disabled. The electronics are nightmarishly unreliable. Terrain response failures, infotainment crashes, sensor malfunctions plague these SUVs. Individual repairs cost $1,500 to $3,000 each. Multiple systems fail simultaneously. Total costs reach $25,000 to $40,000 before 150,000 kilometers. On a vehicle worth $25,000, ownership is financial suicide. But does Range Rover's complexity compare to what Maserati built? Number 4. Maserati Quattroporte, 2013 to 2019. Maserati's flagship sedan promises Italian prestige. Instead, it delivers catastrophic transmission failures and electrical nightmares, making these sedans worthless after warranty expires. The Maserati Quattroporte originally sold for $102,000 to $145,000 new. Today, a 2015 Quattroporte SQ4 with 95,000 kilometers sells for just $32,000 to $45,000. That's 70 to 75% depreciation. The catastrophic defect is ZF 8-speed transmission failure. The transmission develops harsh shifting, slipping, and complete failure between 80,000 to 100,000 kilometers. Transmission replacement at Maserati dealers costs $12,000 to $18,000. The transmission is the same unit used in Chrysler 300S, but costs 3 times more. The 3.0-liter twin-turbo V6 suffers severe oil consumption, up to 1 liter per 1,500 kilometers. The turbos fail prematurely around 100,000 kilometers due to oil starvation. Turbo replacement costs $6,000 to $10,000. Owners constantly check and top off oil. The electronics are spectacularly unreliable. Infotainment freezes constantly. Navigation fails. Digital instrument cluster malfunctions. Parking sensors stop working. Module replacements cost $2,000 to $4,000 each, and multiple failures are common. The touchscreen requires constant rebooting. The air suspension fails around 90,000 to 110,000 kilometers, requiring complete replacement costing $7,000 to $11,000. Air leaks appear within the first year. Annual maintenance is astronomical. Oil changes cost $700 to $1,000. Brake service costs $2,500 to $4,000. Tire replacement costs $2,000 to $3,000. Independent shops refuse these vehicles. Total costs before 120,000 kilometers exceed $35,000 to $50,000. On a car worth $40,000, ownership is economically impossible. The top 3 represent the absolute worst disposable luxury cars. Number 3. Audi A8 D4, 2011 to 2017. Audi's flagship sedan combines timing chain disasters with electronics so complex that a single module failure can total the entire car, repair costs exceeding $50,000. The Audi A8 D4 originally sold for $78,000 to $110,000 new. Today, a 2013 A8L 4.0 T Quattro with 120,000 kilometers sells for just $22,000 to $35,000. That's 70 to 75% depreciation. The catastrophic defect is timing chain failure on 4.0 T twin-turbo V8 engines. The tensioners fail between 100,000 to 140,000 kilometers, causing the chain to jump and destroy valves and pistons. Because this V8 has 2 timing chains, both must be replaced. Complete repair requires engine removal and costs $10,000 to $18,000. Audi dealers quote 40-plus hours of labor. The twin turbochargers fail around 120,000 to 150,000 kilometers due to heat stress and oil coking. Both turbos need replacement costing $8,000 to $12,000. The turbos share oiling systems, so one failure damages both. The air suspension fails catastrophically around 90,000 to 120,000 kilometers. All four corners leak, compressor fails, and control modules malfunction. Complete replacement costs $8,000 to $13,000. The vehicle drops to the ground overnight. The electronics are impossibly complex. This car has over 100 electronic control modules. When modules fail, they take down entire systems. MMI navigation, virtual cockpit, parking assist failures are common. Module replacements cost $2,000 to $5,000 each. The electrical architecture is impossibly fragile. The dual-clutch transmission develops mechatronic failures, requiring replacement costing $4,000 to $7,000. Harsh shifts appear before complete failure. Total costs exceed $35,000 to $55,000 before 160,000 kilometers. On a car worth $30,000, these repairs are insane. But does even Audi's flagship disaster compare to Range Rover? Number 2. Range Rover L405, 2013 to 2021. The ultimate status symbol becomes the ultimate financial disaster. Range Rover's flagship SUV combines catastrophic air suspension with electrical nightmares, costing more than brand new economy cars. The Range Rover L405 originally sold for $88,000 to $125,000 new. Today, a 2015 supercharged with 100,000 kilometers sells for just $35,000 to $50,000. That's 60 to 65% depreciation. The catastrophic defect is the air suspension system. This isn't traditional air suspension. It's impossibly complex electronics controlling ride height, damping, and terrain response. The system fails between 80,000 to 120,000 kilometers. All four struts leak, compressor burns out, control modules fail, sensors malfunction. Complete replacement costs $15,000 to $25,000. More than many new cars, the system never works reliably even when new. The timing chain on supercharged V8 models fails between 100,000 to 140,000 kilometers, requiring complete engine removal, costing $12,000 to $18,000. The guides disintegrate without warning. The supercharger requires rebuilding around 120,000 kilometers, costing $5,000 to $8,000. Bearings wear from heat stress. The transfer case fails between 120,000 to 160,000 kilometers, causing grinding and AWD failure. Replacement costs $6,000 to $10,000. The high-low range selector stops working. The electronics are nightmarishly unreliable. Infotainment crashes, cameras fail, parking sensors malfunction, terrain response glitches. Module failures cost $2,000 to $4,000 each. Software updates create new problems. Annual maintenance is astronomical, $3,000 to $5,000. Dealerships charge premium labor rates. Total costs before 150,000 kilometers exceed $50,000 to $75,000. On a vehicle worth $45,000, ownership is financial suicide. Number 1. BMW 7 Series F01/F02, 2009 to 2015. BMW's flagship sedan represents planned obsolescence perfected. Timing chains, turbos, electronics, and air suspension all engineered to fail catastrophically, creating repair bills exceeding $30,000. The BMW 7 Series F01/F02 originally sold for $82,000 to $140,000 new. Today, a 2012 750i xDrive with 110,000 kilometers sells for just $18,000 to $30,000. That's 75 to 80% depreciation. The catastrophic defect is timing chain failure on N63 twin turbo V8 engine. The guides crack and tensioners fail between 100,000 to 150,000 kilometers. When the chain jumps, pistons collide with valves, causing complete destruction. Repair requires engine removal and costs $10,000 to $18,000. BMW service bulletins acknowledge this, but offer no recalls. The twin turbochargers fail catastrophically around 120,000 kilometers due to oil starvation and heat stress. Both turbos need replacement, costing $8,000 to $14,000. The turbos use inadequate oil supply lines. The valve stem seals fail, causing massive oil consumption, up to 2 liters per 1,000 kilometers. Fixing requires complete engine removal and cylinder head work, costing $10,000 to $15,000. Owners carry spare oil constantly. The high-pressure fuel pump fails around 100,000 kilometers, costing $2,000 to $3,500. This happens suddenly while driving. The air suspension fails between 90,000 to 120,000 kilometers. All 4 corners leak, requiring replacement, costing $7,000 to $12,000. The compressor runs continuously. The electronics are impossibly complex. iDrive failures, sensor malfunctions, camera failures, endless problems. Module failures cost $2,000 to $5,000 each. The electrical system is fundamentally flawed. The transfer case on xDrive models fails around 140,000 kilometers, costing $5,000 to $8,000. Metal shavings appear in the fluid. Total costs exceed $40,000 to $70,000 before 180,000 kilometers. On a car worth $25,000, ownership is complete insanity. Many owners abandon these cars when repairs surface. Thanks for watching. 12 luxury cars proving that prestigious badges mean nothing when manufacturers engineer planned obsolescence into every system. These aren't rare defects. They're systematic design decisions, prioritizing new car sales over reliability. Air suspensions designed to fail at 80,000 kilometers. Timing chains engineered to grenade at 120,000. Electronics so complex that single module failures total the car. Want to know which luxury cars are actually reliable? Check out our video on luxury cars that last 300,000 plus kilometers. Hit subscribe. We expose automotive truth, protecting your financial security. Avoid these disposable disasters. Your bank account will thank you.